So, Bob.
Bob. Yeah, no, Bob's been with us ever since we started doing basketball hoops for the 90s when we were doing hoops for Jordan and Pippen and those guys. Bob was our guy and has been with us now for, over 30 years.
And he works by himself. This is normally a two-man job.
Oh, yeah. So
how much does one of those basketball hoops weigh?
Ooh, I mean, you got the pole, you got the backboard, you got all the hardware. I mean, you're looking at close to 500 pounds in total amount of weight.
But it comes apart. It's
pieces.
Not one piece.
Yes. So the process is, right, we call public utilities, we dig the hole 4 feet deep down, we pour 900 pounds of concrete, let that set, and then Bob comes back anywhere from 48 to 72 hours typically, then puts the pole in, and then he has a system where he gets that backboard to put onto the pole, add the rim, call it a day.
So there is a mechanism. It's not Bob just lifting up this massive basketball hoop and putting it on the concrete.
No, there's like this. He has like this lever system where puts the backboard on this like mechanism and then kind of wheels it up. He gets on top, stands there, and then connects it. So he's got a system. But 30 years, he's got it down pat.
I'm envisioning Bob Flintstone just grabbing this basketball pole and just putting it on his shoulders and walking it over to the cement anchor.
No, it's still obviously very impressive, but there's mechanisms involved to help him out a little bit.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
Well, Jake, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
This is, I think, episode 9 or podcast episode 9 of Unlocking the Windy City, where we are unlocking the business owners, people throughout Chicagoland. And today I'm here with my guest, Jake Stotter from FenceWorks, 3rd generation. And all 3 generations are still working
Still
at
kicking
FenceWorks.
it. Still kicking it. Yep. We got my grandfather, Stan Asher. So he started the business in 1967. Still shows up every day. And then 2nd generation, we have my uncle, Sandy Diamond. So Sandy handles the city. So all fences, he's the only guy that when you need a fence estimate in the city, he's the one you're going to meet with. And Sandy's been doing that now for a little over 30 years. So that's that.
I want to come back to that because fencing in the city is a different beast.
It's a beast. Different beast. And then there's myself. So I started a little over 3 years ago now. I graduated from Miami, Ohio in 2018 and then went into product management, digital. So consulting for about 5 or 6 years. I didn't want to join right away. And I think it was a debate, right? I knew I always wanted to join the family business, but I wanted to bring some value back. Yeah. Right. So
you wanted to forge your own path and be able to come back and not just graduate college, I'm going into the family business. I have no idea what my role is going to be yet.
Exactly. And you can make the case both ways, right? Start early, gain more experience, and just school of hard knocks. I recognize that, again, starting in 1967, there's been systems in place, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I knew there'd be a gap from like a digital perspective and how to catch up with the times, and that's both internal operations, but all the way to communication with clients, people wanting to text, get e-signature quotes, and not pen and paper. So that was kind of always in the back of my head when I was in my prior jobs of how can I not change or reinvent the wheel, but make us more efficient and catch up.
When you were working those prior jobs before joining FenceWorks, were you always thinking, I'm only doing this as a stepping stone?
No, I wanted to always have, not necessarily a backup plan, but I wanted to forge my own path, right? But it was always in the back of my head, like, I'm doing this project now for McDonald's or Mercedes. I'd be working on their website, or, how would FenceWorks benefit from this implementation? Of course, there's nothing like FenceWorks. It's a very niche service and products that we do. So it was it was never one-to-one. But again, I'm really happy with the time I spent prior to now. I feel very prepared to take us more into the future for hopefully another 60 years plus.
Yeah.
So.
It's always interesting because now we've met several family-run businesses throughout Chicagoland, Apt probably being the largest one, and they will not let the kids come into the family business until they've had another job.
Sure.
So, I think there's a lot of value and it makes a lot of sense. And I think your story just kind of goes hand in hand with, what I heard from them.
100%.
Maybe one day you guys will have 1 million square foot warehouse and 400 trucks and
Right. Yeah, and
you'd have to go outside of Chicagoland for that to happen.
Yeah, and people ask all the time, right? We get calls from private equity or to franchise, and my family has been very stand on our 10 toes. We won't do that, right? We don't want private equity. We don't want to be franchise. We love the one family, one location. We definitely, we could expand, but I feel like that goes away from our ethos of this, small shop feel.
Yeah.
And that's what we're offering or we're selling against, to our competitors.
So I'm curious to hear the origin story of FenceWorks. Go back to the beginning when your grandfather started the company.
Sure.
Was it just fencing?
Sure.
Or did you guys have some of those other products and things from the get-go?
No. So, we go all the way back to 1967, or right before that, I guess. My grandfather was working in the Chicagoland area for another fence guy, right? And he was like, I could do this myself. And he started. He dig the installations, dug the holes himself, dug the posts, and eventually, started his own company. And it was FenceWorks, and we only did fences. So the basketball hoops, the playgrounds, the trampolines, that didn't really come about until the mid '90s. So right around when I was born, it was another my grandfather saw in the market. Again, there wasn't really a local person that did those things. This was before e-commerce or any online presence was involved. And at this time, we were on our notorious location on Route 41, where the foot traffic or the driving traffic.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
I was going to say, there probably wasn't a ton of foot traffic.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do not walk on 41.
Don't walk down 41. No. So yeah, that probably wouldn't be a smart business decision or life decision.
No, not at all.
So, all right. So early 90s or mid 90s, basketball hoops, playgrounds, backyard play sets are coming about. How did you get into this space? Was it an acquisition of another company that was doing that, or your grandfather just said, this is a great opportunity, let's go?
The latter. So yeah, he saw an opportunity, and this is something we're doing constantly. And what we tell our customers is, as a dealer per se, right? We're not manufacturing our own basketball hoops, playgrounds, trampolines. We are each year evaluating all of the suppliers on the market, and what we're able to do is work with them, and we can effectively buy it from them at wholesale. And then we sell it at a lower cost compared to if John Doe in Highland Park wanted to buy it online. So having that dealer relationship, we get benefits for having a showroom where we can display it, being on the ground, right? These customers don't have to deal with a call center. They get to text Jake or call Jake, right? Hopefully, to say hi, not that something's wrong, but things happen, especially in this space, and people don't want to deal with call centers and chat bots and things like that. So having someone, at least in the basketball, playground, trampoline space like myself, where they can come to the showroom, I can meet at their house and measure and make sure what they're getting is going to fit and it meets the needs of what their kids are looking for, and you just can't get that online. So that's been our presence since the 90s, and of course, ever since, products have evolved and gotten safer and more customizable and modular. So, but every year we are constantly evaluating and can choose whomever we want to work with, and we tell customers, hey, instead of spending hours on ChatGPT or surfing the internet or different review sites, like, we've done all the homework for you. Exactly. So
well, and so how did that showroom evolve? Because you guys didn't have that when you were on 41, did you?
It was all outside,
right?
So there's the trade-off, right? On 41, we had the visibility, right? People drove by, not walked by, and saw our basketball hoops, our playgrounds, our fences, our trampolines, all outside, and they could test it outside. But of course, come the winter time, it wasn't as desirable. Now our products are used in the winter, like even trampolines. I was lucky. Growing up, I had the basketball, the playground, the trampoline in my backyard in Deerfield, and I would put my snow pants on and go on the trampoline. So, but yes, now we're in Northbrook now, so we're in the Sky Harbor district, so a little bit tucked away. But having everything inside allows all year round people to, even in the winter, start planning. Right, get ahead of their projects, start budgeting and planning for when it comes springtime to hit go. So,
are there more incentives for people to do it earlier in the season, do it in the winter, pick out the product in the winter? I'm assuming some of these companies, these playground companies, aren't as busy during that time, so they're probably running promotions and.
Sure, yeah, I would definitely say like the sooner the better, of course.
But people probably don't do that.
Don't
right?
think about it, right? It's January. You're just coming off of winter break. You just got off a trip. You look outside. There's snow everywhere. You're not thinking about your outdoor space yet. So that's why, yes, come March 1st, it's gangbusters, right? March 1st through, I would say June is definitely the busiest time of the year. Again, March, spring's in the air. That's the best time, right? Okay. The sooner the better, of course, but I would say, yeah, March, April is definitely the busiest. May, June, still busy. And then come the summer, parents and families start to travel, kids are at camp, and then there's a big lift up again around Labor Day in September, and then kind of that cycle kind of just continues.
Okay.
On that front. Yeah.
All right, so I have to ask you this question.
Go for it.
Every time I've seen you, you're in orange. Do you have other colors in your wardrobe?
Someone asked me the other day, like, do you like the color orange, or do you just wear it? And I've grown to like it. I love blue. That's my favorite color. But I've come to like orange. Not necessarily because I have to, but it's a whether it's a branding tactic or may have you. But again, especially now with Instagram and creating content, and my content I like to say is very educational based. It's not very salesy or gimmicky. Just trying to educate people on products that, unless you're in the space, you don't, you're going off of pictures online or these review sites, and it's hard. So I'm trying to bring color to that. So yeah, I wear the orange, to hopefully people, see the videos, recognize, okay, if I'm that guy in the orange, great, I'll take it.
You know what? Hey, whatever works for branding purposes, and I totally get that. Yeah. I'm just noticing today as we're talking about that and looking at your phone, it's orange.
Yeah. My girlfriend would wish I had a little bit more variety in my wardrobe. But come, on the weekends, at 9 to 5, I'm orange, but I have other colors.
Yeah, I'm not wearing it today, but I would say 90% of my wardrobe is blue.
Yeah.
So I look in my closet this morning, I'm like, oh, I have 5 blue suits. That's probably an issue.
I don't have an orange suit yet.
They do make orange suits. I have seen that.
Oh, that would be. I think that would cross the line. I may not have a girlfriend
for an anniversary party or something.
Maybe.
So, all right. So, FenceWorks has been around since the '60s. You guys are now 3rd generation, all still actively working in the business. What is the dynamic like?
Yeah, I get asked that all the time. So. I think a lot of people have the connotation, family business, it must be easy. You get to work with your family. And I'm so grateful too. I get to work with not only my grandfather and my uncle, but my dad's in the business, my grandmother. Everyone in the family at some point has come. That's who is now remaining here. So I'm very grateful. That's number one, to spend so much family time. But really, and it takes effort to really, between 9 to 5 are the hours of business. We are running a business. My grandfather is my boss, and my uncle is a partner, and my dad is a teammate, and my grandmother a teammate. Right? There's all those. That dynamic is tough. So I can't say that when we have a Sunday dinner that business doesn't come up. It's hard because when we don't feel like it's work for us. It's a passion, right? Especially my grandfather instilled that. Like it's never been a job for him. It's been his passion. It's been his baby, and it's really rubbed off on me as well. It's become part of my identity, and I love it. And I think when you get to that point, when it sounds cliche, but when you feel like work isn't work and it feels like part of you, that's when you feel like you're truly living your truth, or come full circle. So. I went from consulting on digital products to now consulting families and helping them bring the experience that I grew up with myself. So it feels very natural. Yeah. But to answer your question, yes, is it easy? No. Am I grateful? Yes. But every day we have to work towards that, to separate, church and state is kind of the famous, saying that people say. So we make it happen though.
Yeah.
Not easy though, for sure.
No, nothing is ever easy, especially in business. But I like what you said. When it's just part of your life, it becomes part of your fiber. It just becomes like natural, and it's just woven in naturally. I keep saying natural, but it is. I mean, that's essentially what it becomes.
For sure. And I can say that personally. Like, I've seen how you work with your clients, and I've seen some real estate agents. It feels very transactional with you and your team, and from the reputation you guys have, it feels, and you've said it, and I've seen you show it, like you make your clients feel like family too. So I think that's across not just our industry, your industry, they have you. When you start to be a friend, right, and make it feel like people want to work with people they like.
For sure.
I think that's very important. And again, you can't necessarily get that same experience, at least in our case, right? When you're calling a call center, you're looking online, and that person you call that day, you call the next day, you're getting another person, right? So having that consistency, that yes, in a few years you wanted to add something to your fence or to your place, that they're not looking at you like a number, right?
Right.
I remember you, John, right? Like, how's Danny doing? How's the kids doing, right? Like, we really build that family, and I think people truly see that value.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, because there's probably a lot of similarity between the two businesses, where our sales cycle is a long cycle. Someone's not calling you every single year needing a new fence or needing fence repairs. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But same thing goes with a playset or a trampoline. Like, they have a long life cycle.
Yes.
Someone's not moving out of their house every year.
Right.
It's every 7 to 10, 7 to 12, depending on the market, and sometimes longer.
Exactly.
So how do you guys deal with that sales cycle? Do you get a lot of repeat business? Is it just a lot of referral business, word of mouth?
Yeah, no, very good question. So I would say a vast majority of our, if you want, our leads, our lead sources per se, of how business is coming in, a lot of it's accounts and referrals. That's number one. I think with fences, right, we're getting people maybe in 10 or the 10 to 20 year cycle, depending on what material they're going with, or what Chicago winter. This past March we had a horrible spring, right? We had a horrible windstorm, and we had customers that from 15 years ago needed some repairs done. So the fence is probably that 10 to 20 year cycle where we're hearing back from them, whereas with playground, basketball, trampoline, I say playgrounds, you start with a fence, right? So you're moving to a new house, like, you can have the coolest backyard with the basketball hoop and the playground and trampoline, but if you don't have the privacy and security to keep your kids safe, so not going into the street, may have you, that's where you want to start, right? So it starts with the fence, and then I say when you have a child around that 9 to 10 month age is a great time to get the swing set. They can start with the baby bucket swing, and then as they get older, they'll get a bit more autonomous to get into the tower and so forth. But the playground has the shortest cycle. I probably used my playground until I was about 11, 12. Would still go on the swings and stuff, but the actual structure with the slides and so forth. Whereas the trampoline and basketball hoop, probably more start around that 3-ish age. Basketball hoops you can lower down to 6 feet.
Right.
Get the kids playing a little faster. But trampoline and basketball hoop, when I would come back from college, right, I would still play on it, right? So playground has the shortest life cycle, not from the durability of it, but the interest level to use it. So that's kind of the trajectory or the timeline, I would say, across our products.
And do people generally start with a basic set and then upgrade and add the tower or the slides, or are they starting with the full package and just anticipating the growing need?
There's two ways. I really try to design, when it comes to play sets at least, right? That's going to be the most modular thing. You get a trampoline, you're getting a trampoline. When you're getting a basketball hoop, it's adjustable from 6 to 10 feet or 7.5 to 10 feet. So you're buying it and you can adjust it, and that's how it grows with the kids. You're not really adding things to your trampoline necessarily. Maybe you're adding a basketball hoop to it, but whereas with a playground, you could take two approaches, right? We have wood playgrounds, cedar, and then we have a custom vinyl, no maintenance playground. So with the vinyl, which is going to be a bit more expensive up front.
And that's a newer product, right?
Within the last 10 years, whereas wood playgrounds have been around for, forever.
Right.
So yeah, with the vinyl, that's been a newer craze as of late, especially with the new builds. I'm telling you, in Glencoe, Highland Park, these contemporary, white, black, gray houses, right? Being able to match it like 1-to-1, families are going crazy for it. With that, it's very modular. It's like Lego pieces. So you can start. Again, it's a higher investment up front. You can start with something small and then kind of add on as the kids grow. With the wood, you can add to it, right? But you still gotta keep up with maintenance. It's any wood product. If you ever had a wood deck, you gotta stain it. You gotta treat it. It comes pre-treated, but you gotta put what you put into it's what you get out of it.
Do you guys do the maintenance for that too?
We don't. We tell people if you have a decking company that they do that, landscapers. So we don't do any of the staining maintenance in regards to repairs or anything. Sure. Of course, we stand behind our product, our work. So that's us. But regarding the staining and maintaining of the aesthetic of it, we would recommend a landscaper or a decking company to do that work.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's wood restoration companies that specialize in that type of stuff.
So I know, because we've talked about this before, there's a big difference, even though they may look like they're the same place at. There's a big difference between what you can buy at like a Costco or a big box store versus the products that you guys sell.
Yep.
What are the differences?
Sure.
Is it the quality of the wood? Is it, the construction?
Both, right? So the quality, right? So when you look at these big box stores, and not to name names, you may have mentioned one already, but
I can mention it. You can't.
So they're it's quality over quantity over quality per se, right? They're mass produced. They're these guys have stores or big box stores across the country, across the world, so they have to buy products that they can get in mass quantity and still make a margin, right? And then from there, these big box or online retailers are using third-party, like national installation services, where they're putting in a hot tub one day and then the next day they're putting in your playground. And these guys are not specialized. What's their level of insurance, and are they licensed and bonded? And if something goes wrong, right, who are you calling, right? So from, the quality, right, the bigger the store and the bigger reach they have, like nationwide or worldwide, you got to question the quality. What's the hardware? Are they using lags? Are they using bolts? Are they using stainless steel hardware or not, right? So in a picture or right on a shelf, if we're really going that far, it may look the same, but and that's all the homework that we're doing, right? So we're not going to put something that we won't put our family's name behind, right? There's a lot of trust. If we're saying, hey, we're doing all that due diligence up front, and that goes for our fences, to our playgrounds, trampolines, basketball, all of our products. Again, we're in the driver's seat. We have the leverage or the position to choose whom we want. So why would we sacrifice the quality? And again, there's going to be cheaper sets out there, right?
Sure.
But would you rather have something you have to buy 2 or 3 times? Just get it done right once the first time, have it built correctly, have that backing of someone that's going to back and stand behind their work. And that means a lot to people when they are educated about the differences. But I understand, right? It's hard being in this space. You got to take yourself out for a second. I imagine I'm looking for a basketball for the first time, right? It says it's adjustable. Okay, what's the difference between yours? Well, that hoop is acrylic versus ours is tempered glass. That could shatter within one Chicago windstorm.
Right.
Gone. You just spent maybe half the cost of ours, but now you have to buy a second one, and you could have just done it the first time.
Right.
Right. But you pay for what you get, and that definitely shows. And I think why we've been in business for as long as we have.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And fencing isn't something that people really put a lot of thought into either. But a fence brings a ton of aesthetic to a house. It brings a lot of value, even though it may not be felt directly in the price. But someone sees a house and they have a dog and there's a fenced yard. If there's 2 houses that are the exact same house at the exact same price, which one are they buying? They're buying the one with the fence.
True.
Someone sees a fence that's a chain link fence versus a beautiful wood or vinyl fence. There's a big difference in that. I want to touch on the fencing part of your business, because that's where it all originated, right?
Yeah.
So, and I do want to go to the city. I held that off for a while because I want to talk about that. I know your uncle is the city guy. But I'm still going to pick your brain.
Go for it as well. Go for it. Yeah.
So what is your philosophy, because obviously at your core, you guys do all these different things now, but you are a fence company is how it all originated.
Sure.
So when someone comes to you and starts the process,
Yeah.
we just bought a house, we need a fence in the yard.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Sure.
What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of companies out there, the ones that have been bought by private equity or franchise models, or guys that are just working out of their garage, right? That may not be insured, and say, oh yeah, I could do a fence. Like, I'll go to Home Depot and I'll
Careful, you're wearing the orange
right?
there.
I know, and just get material and I'll put it up. We require that we meet with you on site. So a lot of competitors will say, how much linear footage do you have? Oh, here's your price. And then what happens is they take the job, price was cheaper, they go out and they didn't account for this terrain or this tree that was in this location or this property line issue. And that price that they originally quoted and the customer was expecting and waiting weeks for this install, they get there and it's double the cost, or the quality wasn't what they were thinking it was.
Have you guys had a lot of customers come to you that had that experience?
Oh yeah, and that goes both in fencing and in the play space, if you want to call it, where they were not educated, unfortunately, or they were told this pipe dream or this yeah, it's going to be great, all that, and then we're fixing something that, and they always, I've heard it 1,000 times, right? Like, I wish I had known that you guys were an option first. I just went with what was cheapest or what I thought was good enough, and we're here to obviously try to help and rectify that. But we won't install, for example, people will call and say, oh, I bought my hoop or I bought my playground at X company, will you install it? And the answer is respectfully no. And it's not trying to be mean or uptight. It's, we have quality standards and a liability and make sure we have the parts to replace.
You're not going to install something that you can't stand behind yourself.
Exactly. People are like, I'm willing to pay you, and it's not about, there's sometimes jobs you walk away from, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was something harder for me when I first started, right? I wanted every job. I wanted to help everybody, but sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away from certain jobs. And it's mainly when, yes, people are asking us to install third-party products that we haven't vetted. But back to the fencing. So we start with that on-site estimate. Someone calls and they'll ask, like, oh, give me a price for 200 linear feet of cedar, and we'll say no. We don't give online over the phone prices. We want to meet with you, and it's in your best interest and ours. So that is our full stop number one requirement. So someone calls, yep, just moved into a house in Glencoe. I need a fence. So we'll schedule an estimate with one of our estimators. My dad and a couple other guys who have been with us for decades will come out in the suburbs. Then if it's the city, it's my uncle for now. But yeah, I've been mainly on, right now I'm in the fun stuff, and then my uncle, my dad, and a couple other guys handle, the fencing now. But anyway, starts with the estimate. And then once they've met, we'll provide the quote and then walk them through the quote. And once they are ready to move forward, they apply for the permit. And once they've got their permit, then we schedule the installation. And then our team comes out, installs the fence, and voila. So
what are the most popular products today? Is it still wood? Is wood still
for
the
sure
go-to? Or
and we have redwood, we have cedar as well. So there's two, the top quality in the wood space you can get for wood. But now with these new builds, the contemporary composite has been very popular. The no maintenance, right? And that goes for playgrounds too, right? Wood versus vinyl. Wood versus composite or vinyl on the fence side, right? There's definitely a higher price point for these no maintenance products.
Sure.
But we have families that budget isn't an object, right? And space isn't a problem or may have you, but they love the nostalgic of wood. So there is no one size fits all or a persona that I could tell you that because you have this budget, you're going to get this fence or this fun product. It's so subjective. But that's the process that we provide in that consultation, is walking through the pros and cons. And maybe in a certain situation, while chain link is probably the least expensive material and the least aesthetic material, if you're doing a dog run or something in the backyard and it's not going to get that much face time per se, that may make more sense. So we'll help those customers kind of specific project and needs what makes the most sense.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it makes sense in a lot of cases too. Like if you have beautiful landscaping in the back of the yard, you put up a wood fence behind it, it almost takes away from the landscaping in some cases.
Sure.
Sometimes you want it just to blend in to the natural environment.
Yeah.
And you guys sell all those products, obviously, as well.
Yep.
And in the city, we'll go back to that now, finally.
Yeah.
Coming full circle.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of wood fencing in the city. You see mostly wrought iron and, obviously it's more expensive.
Sure.
But more aesthetically pleasing when you have smaller lots, smaller yards. So what do you guys do with that? I mean, is that something you come across a lot in the city?
Sure. I will tell you, you'd be surprised. We do a decent amount of wood, vinyl, chain link, like pretty much everything. The one thing we're starting to see, we used to do wrought iron. We don't do wrought iron anymore. So that's right. That's really dedicated. There's a lot of guys that again just are doing that type of welding work out of their garage, and there's a couple companies really that do it and have a stronghold on the market. We used to do it. It's a lot. But
so I'm saying wrought iron, but I'm actually, as I'm thinking about it, it's aluminum.
They are a little different, right? Wrought iron is going to be a little bit more invasive, a little bit stronger per se, but can rust a bit more than aluminum per se. But and again, it just depends on the space, right? Like if you're, again, I can name X street, right? But if all your neighbors have wrought iron and then you put up an aluminum, right? That can aesthetically look a little different. So, and we tell customers, there's been times I've even had friends, right, that are moving to the city and say, hey, Jake, we'd love to work with you. Like, this is cool. Like, full circle. I've been waiting to work with FenceWorks, like, with your family. But I tell them, look, you should get wrought iron, and they so appreciate that, right? I would love to work with them. They're my friends. Right. I also want what's best for them. So if that's something that's out of our scope or something we don't do, we'll help them and direct them to someone. And we have a nice network of things that are out of other company scopes that are in our scope and vice versa. So we have that nice network. And,
so you guys have good partnerships out there beyond just what you sell. For
sure. And, you call them partnerships or just, friends or referral per se. We're not getting anything out of it. We're not getting like a cut of anything. It's just, just kind of that friendly, situation, like commercial, right? Like, that's a whole other beast, right? Commercial fencing. That's something we're not really into per se. We do, when it comes to private space, whether it's a private school or a daycare or a synagogue or a church or insert anything in the more private space. We're not getting into the bidding and the big commercial jobs. There's other companies that have a stronghold on that. But as a small family boutique business, that's not really our speed. So again, we know people.
What about with like playgrounds and stuff? Do you guys do that type of stuff?
Same
not
premise.
Schools and public spaces, it's more private.
But we did a playground for Montessori school in Highland Park. We did an occupational therapy center in Northbrook right behind our office. So again, private. Love it, right? It's love to kind of, again, obviously residentially we're in the community, but like to work on, for an occupational therapy center or religious organization, whatever it may be, like we feel it's very cool to feel more, that's a very community-based project. So as long as it's private, we absolutely can do that. But not the big public commercial bidding war stuff. That's just not our jam.
Well, everyone has to niche down at some point. I mean, it makes sense. You guys have your niche and you're really strong in that product space as well as the fencing space and everything that you guys sell. Go back to the origin story. The one thing that always sticks with me, and I think this is where we first connected, is you guys are the guy on 41. Can you tell us that story? Because I love hearing it every time you tell it.
And there's a few different ways we got to that point. I mean, first and foremost, right, when we were on 41 for at least 50 years, because in 1967 when we started, we was at a couple little offices, and then basically for 50 years we were on Route 41. So I had to call Apple the other day. For some reason, it's still on Apple Maps, had us at that location. I'm like, we've been in Northbrook for 8 years. So
has it been 8 years now?
Yeah, it's been about 8 years. And when people call and I ask, how'd you hear about us? They're like, I see you all the time on 41. And I laugh. I'm like, that was 8 years ago. But it was so prominent. So again, I have dreams. That'd be cool to maybe go back to 41, but I love the indoor location, having everything inside, pros and cons to both.
Sure.
But yeah, so the guy in 41 origin per se. So we're on Route 41, and as I mentioned, kind of when we got kickstarted in the basketball hoop space, as I mentioned, we did a lot of the hoops for the 90s Bulls players, and one guy, Michael Jordan.
Some unknown guy. Nobody
cool
knows
guy,
who that
cool
guy is.
Cool guy, yep. Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, you name it. Yeah, those guys. And anyway, so my grandfather, side story, right? He was in Los Angeles, and he was at a hotel, and he was waiting for his car to come around. And this SUV pulls up, rolls down the window, and then points to my grandfather, Stan, is like, that's the guy in 41. And that was Michael Jordan, right? And it stuck, and and of course people would come in and refer to him as that, plus Michael Jordan kind of coining it too. We just kind of roll with it, and our URL is theguyin41.com. We still refer to us as FenceWorks, aka the guy in 41. On Google it's FenceWorks, and then in parentheses the guy in 41. So some people have no idea what FenceWorks is, but absolutely know the guy in 41, or know the guy in 41, and vice versa, right? So we have to keep both. People will be like, why do you're not on 41? I'm like, we have to keep it, So people recognize.
You guys should petition Northbrook to change the name of the street to 41
instead of MacArthur. Yeah. I feel like the other businesses may not love that, but
it's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So Jake, what else do you want to talk about in terms of FenceWorks? I mean, there's so much history there. There's so much that you guys do.
Yeah.
What is important that you want our viewers to hear about or know about with FenceWorks?
For sure. Yeah, I think the number one thing that I want families to feel educated and supported, and I think especially for these products being so niche, fences, playgrounds, basketball hoops, trampolines, it's the Wild West online, right? And I think it's so hard for families that are trying to find the best for their family long term and are just subjected to the pictures and these long list of product specs that are just overwhelming. So we tell families, give us a call, come to our showroom. You're not alone. These are products these aren't buying toiletries at a big box store that you're buying every week. These are 10, 20 plus year long investment products, and you want to do it once, you want to do it right the first time, and have someone that's done all the homework for you, that stands behind their product. So I think as you compare to, in the fence space, the franchise, private equity backed, or I call it the out of their garage type guys, and then in the playground, basketball, trampoline space, the online only retailers where you can't actually come and see and test the product. You don't have someone that could come to your house and actually make sure it's going to fit. We've had those horror stories where hundreds of pounds of boxes are just dropped on their driveway, and then they're trying to find someone to install it, and they have no idea who their experience, and then they're trying to return it, and it's just a mess. So we say, look, forget all that hassle, start locally, and again, if it's out of our scope or we're not the right fit for you, we'll tell you. But it's always, I always tell people, it's the place to start. You should start local with a family business like ours, and forget the headache of that. So that's the one thing I want people to know, is that there is a local option that has your back and can help you through that process from consultation to the sale of the product, installation, and then support. And there's, at least in those 4 products, I don't know of anyone else, especially in the North Shore or Chicagoland area, if you can, that's just specialized. And people ask, why don't you get into this or that? And we could, right? But for now, for almost 60 years, we've been specified in those, or focus on those 4 spots and do them very well. And I think we'll continue that for a long time. So that's what I want people to know.
All right. So I was going to ask you before, but now I will ask you, what is next? Is there another product line that you guys are looking at? I wanted to be seen here first on unlocking the Windy City.
I think no comment at the time, but I think it sounds exciting, right? To want to get into something new, but I think there's so much still growth to have, because I think there was a gap, right? We're on 41. And then right around that time, 8 years ago, this e-commerce boom kind of happened. And we weren't at the time really digitally equipped. We were, we have our direct mail piece we did, and we had, built this reputation. And I'm sure if we'd had no website, we would do just fine. And our reputation and accounts would carry us. But nowadays, you have families that have moved from New York to Chicago, or didn't grow up and drive by our location, have no idea who we are. So I feel, a surge of responsibility per se on my social, on our FenceWorks Instagram and through other mediums to educate. Hey, there's a local guy down the street. Forget the online research and go into the big box store, and that's where you get your toiletries. But when it comes to these big purchases, these long-term investments for your family, you have an option. So I feel a source of responsibility to educate and get that name out there. On that front, so I think it's important. But so regarding adding anything, no, I think my focus right now is doubling down and really just educating and get the word out there, kind of, and build off of the reputation and branding we've already built for all 3 generations and almost 60 years. And never say never, but for now, I like this specialized approach, and it's done us well. So.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I want to thank you for being here today, and
thanks for having
being
me.
A great partner for me and my team and our clients. If you have not been to the FenceWorks showroom on MacArthur, not on 41. There's still the guy on 41, but on MacArthur in Sky Harbor in Northbrook, go check it out. It's a beautiful showroom. They have all the products there. You can feel it, test it, play on it. I think that's something that's unique and different that you guys offer. And I look forward to a long-term continued relationship working with you, and
likewise
love the work that you guys do and the support that you provide your customers. And I think that's something that we can both agree on. At the end of the day, customer service first.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for watching. If you watched the podcast, make sure you follow us on social media. Just call Justin. We have a new social channel now on Instagram, Windy City Unlocked. So you can watch the TV show. It's actually airing in about an hour, but the podcast won't be out, so that doesn't matter. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening with Windy City Unlocked, the Chicagoland real estate market, and some of our great partnerships that we have. So have a great day, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me, Justin.